There's a plant that produces more food than potatoes. It grows without you having to dig the earth. Its roots multiply underground, while its vines climb toward the sky. Most importantly, it doesn't spike your blood sugar like regular potatoes. For decades, millions of families grew it in their backyards. It was the perfect food for diabetics before that word even existed. Today, almost nobody plants it, not because it stopped working, but because someone decided it was better if you forgot about it. Welcome to where we uncover what the industry wanted you to ignore. If this is your first time visiting, consider subscribing. We publish daily content about plants the industry wants you to ignore. Now let me tell you the real story of this forgotten root. The plant I'm talking about is the sweet potato. Some call it yam, others call it batata. In Mexico, they call it camote. In the southern United States, sweet potato. In the Caribbean, batata. Different names for the same buried treasure. When I say treasure, I'm not exaggerating. Sweet potatoes have a glycemic index of 50, sometimes less. Regular potatoes have a glycemic index of 85. That means sweet potatoes release their energy slowly, without sugar spikes. Your pancreas doesn't have to work double time to process what you eat. It's the type of food diabetics need, and nobody tells them about. But that's not all. Sweet potatoes produce up to 20 tons per hectare. Regular potatoes produce between 15 and 20 under the best conditions. Here comes the difference the industry doesn't want you to know. Sweet potatoes don't need you to dig to harvest them. Their roots grow near the surface. You pull the vine and the roots come out with it. No shovels, no back pain, no machines. Sweet potatoes are just one of the low glycemic index roots the industry buried. There are 7 others like this hidden in plain sight. Roots that release slow energy without spiking blood sugar, the type of food diabetics need and nobody tells them about. If you want to know them all, I prepared a complete guide in the first link in the description. But stay here because there's still important information in this video. Now let me tell you how sweet potatoes conquered the world and then disappeared. This plant was born in Central America more than 5,000 years ago. The Maya cultivated it before building their pyramids. It was so important they painted it on their ceramics and offered it to the gods. The Incas took it to the Andes Mountains. They cultivated it at 10,000 feet elevation where few plants survive. They developed more than 3,000 different varieties, 3,000 forms of the same plant, adapted to every climate and soil. When the Spanish arrived, they were amazed. A plant that produced abundant food without plowing the earth. They took it to Europe, Africa, and Asia. In less than 100 years, sweet potatoes fed half the planet. In the Philippines, it became the staple food of peasants. In China, it saved millions during the great famines of the 17th century. In Japan, it was survival food during World War II. In Africa, it remains the difference between eating and going hungry. But in the West, something strange happened. By the mid-20th century, sweet potatoes began disappearing from supermarkets. Big chains preferred white potatoes. They were easier to process, easier to convert into industrial products. French fries, instant mashed potatoes, starch for industry. Sweet potatoes didn't work for that. Their natural sugars caramelize differently. Their texture doesn't work for mass processing machines. So they let it die in oblivion, not because it was worse, but because it didn't fit the production line. Universities stopped studying it. Governments stopped promoting it. Seeds disappeared from commercial catalogs. In one generation, 5,000 years of knowledge was almost lost. Here's the truth few people know. While white potatoes shoot your glucose like a rocket, sweet potatoes keep it stable. While potatoes need tilled soil and tractors, sweet potatoes grow in any corner. While potatoes rot in weeks, sweet potatoes last months in a cool place. It's the perfect food they didn't want you to know about. But the industry didn't count on one thing. People are waking up. In the last 10 years, sweet potato cultivation grew 30%. 30% more families growing it in Latin America. Small farmers are rediscovering what their grandparents knew. You don't need a tractor to feed your family. You don't need chemicals to have an abundant harvest. You don't need anyone's permission to plant your own food. The solution for high blood sugar was in your grandmother's backyard. Sweet potatoes are returning vine by vine, root by root. In the next section, I'll teach you exactly how to grow them step by step, without complications, without spending money, so you can also be part of this silent revolution. Now let me teach you how to grow sweet potatoes in your own backyard. You don't need experience. You don't need special soil. You don't need to invest money. You just need a sweet potato slip and a little patience. What I'm going to teach you works in Mexico, Argentina, Spain, anywhere. The first step is getting an organic sweet potato from the market. Don't use ones from big supermarkets. Many come treated not to sprout. Those sweet potatoes were sprayed with growth inhibitors. The industry doesn't want you to plant, it wants you to buy. Look for one at the local market from a small producer. Choose one that's firm, without spots, without soft parts. Put it in a glass with water, half submerged. Use toothpicks to hold it if necessary. Place it near a window with indirect light. In 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see vines sprouting. Small green shoots coming out of the sweet potato's eyes. When the vines are 6 inches long, cut them carefully. Put them in another glass with clean water. In 1 week, they'll have their own roots. Now you have your plants ready for soil. Sweet potatoes need sun, at least 6 hours daily. They need loose soil that drains well. They don't tolerate waterlogging. Their roots rot with excess water. Plant the vines 16 inches apart from each other. Bury 2 or 3 nodes of the vine. Leave the rest outside. Water once a week, no more. Sweet potatoes are warm climate plants, but they adapt to almost everything. In cold zones, plant them after the last frost. In tropical zones, you can plant them all year. Harvest comes between 3 and 5 months after planting. You'll know they're ready when leaves start yellowing. You don't need to dig with a shovel. Loosen the soil with your hands and gently pull the vine. The roots will come out with it, clean and perfect. A single sweet potato can give you between 4 and 9 pounds of roots. 10 plants can feed a family of 4 for several months. Here comes the secret supermarkets don't want you to know. Freshly harvested sweet potatoes need to cure before storing. Leave them in the sun for a few hours so the skin dries. Then, store them in a cool, dark place, never in the refrigerator. Cold converts their starch to sugar and ruins their texture. A well-cured sweet potato lasts up to 6 months without refrigeration. 6 months of free food, without electricity, without preservatives. That's real self-sufficiency. But sweet potatoes give you more than roots. Their leaves are edible and more nutritious than spinach. They have more protein, more vitamins, more minerals. 100 grams of sweet potato leaves have more vitamin A than carrots, more iron than spinach, more calcium than milk, and they grow free while you wait for the roots to mature. In Asia, they eat them sautéed with garlic like any leafy vegetable. In Africa, they boil them and mix them with peanuts. In the Philippines, they put them in soups and stews. It's a plant where everything is used, nothing is wasted. Leaves feed while roots grow. Vines are replanted for the next harvest. Even the peels serve as soil fertilizer. While the industry sells you vitamin supplements in plastic bottles, your backyard can produce more nutrients than any pharmacy. Orange sweet potatoes have more beta-carotene than carrots. Your body converts it to vitamin A to protect your eyes. Purple sweet potatoes have anthocyanins that fight inflammation, the same compounds that make blueberries famous. White sweet potatoes have the lowest glycemic index of all. They're preferred by those watching their blood sugar. 3 colors, 3 benefits, 1 plant. And all 3 grow equally easy in your backyard. Nature already had the solution before they invented the problems. Now think about this. Every supermarket has entire aisles of diabetic products. Sugar-free cookies, diet drinks, expensive supplements. A billion-dollar industry built on fear. Meanwhile, a plant that naturally controls sugar grows in any garden. A plant your great-grandparents grew without knowing about glycemic indexes. They didn't need nutrition labels. They didn't need apps to count carbohydrates. They just knew sweet potatoes filled the stomach without sickening the body. That knowledge was lost in one generation, but it doesn't have to be lost in yours. Sweet potatoes aren't just a plant. They're a declaration of food independence. It's telling the industry you don't need their processed products. It's telling your body it deserves real food, not disguised chemicals. Every vine you plant is an act of silent resistance. Every root you harvest is a victory against the system, a system that wants to keep you sick and dependent. Remember, if you want to know the other 7 low glycemic index roots, those the industry hid for decades, just click the first link in the description. The knowledge that saved your ancestors is waiting there. If this video opened your eyes, hit like so the algorithm doesn't bury it. Subscribe so you don't miss the next treasure we're going to unearth. And share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you in the next one.